Yes, indeed. Welcome back to another episode of the Unquestioned Podcast with Louis Debaere and Willem Himpe. And people, all of our listeners, maybe they're not as many as you think, or not as little as you think, but Luigi, where are you?
Oh, uh, I'm on the Underground Podcast.
The
My
Underground
dungeon.
Podcast, your dungeon, your cave, your pain cave that you probably had to be in during the 75 hard or all of the
Exactly.
marathons are, my man. And it's funny, actually, it's quite symbolic for the topic of today. Today we'll be talking about regrets, personal regrets that we as podcast hosts, as brothers, as sons might have had in our life. Currently, we're not 30 yet, but we're both coming closer and closer. Amen to that. So we could say with our good conscience that we have almost lived a third of our life, and maybe it's a good moment to reflect. So definitely our listeners, people that are in the same boat as us, it's a good moment to see what do I regret or what don't I regret, and how am I going to live the next 2/3 of my life to make sure that I won't have regrets or as little as possible going forward. So, Luigi, why do you think this topic is important? And then maybe you can set us off or throw the ball back to me, and I'll give my first regret that I have.
Starting this podcast. Yeah. Well, well, yeah. There are some things in life you only find out once you do them. Like a lot of advice that you hear sounds like a cliche and sounds super obvious until you actually experience it, and then suddenly it's wisdom because you felt that you were there before, and suddenly you understand, that's why they said that, like, money is not the most important thing. You only truly understand that once you have a lot of money. Before that, you're always like, is that really true? All of my problems will be solved. So maybe we could go one for one each. I'll start with my living situation. I always made it a priority to be independent. It was a point of pride for me to make always be sure that I was taken care of without outside help. And so when I came back to Ghent after living abroad, I thought, well, the reason that people co-house, that they live together in the same house in one room sharing an apartment, is because they can't afford to get a whole apartment to themselves. I thought, and but I can. I had the money, so I thought, you know what? I'll just live alone in a nice place during COVID. But I didn't realize that that was only one part of the story. And during COVID, I actually made it harder on myself by just thinking living alone is the only way, instead of being with family or maybe just sharing a place and not to be completely isolated. Because on top of that, I was working from home. And yeah, during COVID, you also didn't see your colleagues much. So I kind of orchestrated orchestrated that isolation. And I shouldn't have been as stubborn. I just opened my mind up a little bit and looked around and thought, hey, there's no reason I can't go to my parents a little bit more often. It's not because I'm a loser. So that's one of the things I tend to regret looking back, or I should have just approached differently. What about you?
Yeah.
Or you can judge me now.
I'll give you a little bit of judgment. No. I think you're right. A lot of people think maybe definitely during COVID that living alone and taking a step up in life, getting a bigger house or doing something bigger, but that sometimes is not immediately connecting to happiness. Sometimes it's better to focus on a more human connection, and like you said, it brings us sometimes a lot more happiness that we get good conversation, get good connection, and even with new random strangers, than just the living standard that increased based off the place that we live, or the stuff that we have. And I've been as well part of that, sometimes now living in Amsterdam. But that's maybe not the first regret I would want to start off with. My first regret would be moving back from the United States to Europe. I was, so that's maybe a special one. Some people could relate, some people could not, maybe cannot. When I was 18, I moved to the United States of America to play college tennis, so for a university. And after one full year, I did well in school. In sports level, I didn't perform as much. I had to adapt to the high pressure that was given in a sports team, where in Europe tennis is more let's say, motivate your players not by pressure, but motivating them in a different way, positive way. Where in American college teams, it's sometimes more pressure, so you have to perform for your team. Doesn't matter how you play. My funny thing is, after a year, I moved back to Europe because I saw less of a future in my tennis career. And that's as well maybe what I regret, because I was people pleasing a little bit others, because I felt bad for the team because I wasn't performing and I had a scholarship. I felt bad for my parents because as well I couldn't help them because I was across a 13 or 12-hour flight away. So that's what I kind of regret. I should have been a little bit more selfish and just said like, okay, I'm still in the land of the free. There's a lot more opportunity here when it comes to entrepreneurship and other things. So I could have maybe just said, F it, let me stay, and just trust my tennis and other stuff to get better. And also that it will work out with the degree. But I made the decision to go back. So I have a little bit of a regret there. But that motivated me as well in other decisions further or later in my life. So that is my one of my regrets in life. Luigi, give me your second regret. to stay on this
But
pessimistic
a little,
episode. No.
yeah, just a little practical question on that one. Did you have the passport to stay? Or do you mean you would have
So
continued your academic and tennis career if you had a chance, like another year?
I had a student visa for 5 years. I think 4 years to finish your bachelor and an extra year that they give you. I think it was an F1 or an S1. I think it was S1. And I'll fact check it. And that was actually as well a lot of European players. They sometimes find a job because a good company supports them their work visa, or it happens as well to find a partner. I found an amazing partner here in Europe, which is actually a person from South Africa, so that I don't regret. But let's say a lot of European players that go there to play college tennis, it's an easier path to then get a green card or start your life fully over there in America. But of course, you have to love the lifestyle and love the culture over there to do it. And I love the culture. It was just mainly people pleasing and mainly feeling a bit of guilt that I went there and wasn't performing as expected. And then I should have been a bit more selfish in that regard and say like, it will all work out, or have a bit more confidence in myself, and then keep pushing through it. So once you're there in America, I feel it as well, and you're performing well or doing good, then the country as well wants you to stay. If you're not performing and you're doing illegal stuff, they will find any reason to put you out. But that's usually not the case with student athletes that go there.
It must have been tough. I mean, there's a whole ocean between you and your family, so yeah, must have been a tough call to make.
Cor-
My Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
No, I would just want to confirm what you said.
Yeah. Yeah. My next one is a technical one. When I started at Spotify, I had the choice to get some of my paycheck, my salary, as um, equity, meaning stock or even options that would outperform the stock. And what I didn't understand at that time was I started in September 2022. And that was right after a big crash, a market correction, because during COVID, the market kept growing to like an irrational high. And then there was a big drop for all stocks. And that was basically the ideal moment for anyone to get uh, stock compensation as in a company. Why? Because you only get that reward at the end of the years that you stay there. So after 4 years, for example, but the whole package, the 4 year package, you buy at the very start. So it's like a little bit of a loan. You get the whole amount for the next 4 years that you can invest at that time, and that is an
Mhm.
amount of leverage and exposure that I did not understand. Um, like as a 23-year-old, how I didn't understand how powerful that was. That I wouldn't be able to make a bet like that anywhere else because I didn't have that money. So basically, I had 5 times the amount of money at my disposal to invest at a certain point to then see a few years later. And I didn't recognize that because the market was down so low, the chance that I wouldn't make a big return uh, was very low. So it would have been a great idea to just do that instead of taking cash, which is what I did because I thought, I want this money right now, want to live well, I'm going to invest in myself, I want full control. Again, wanting to be independent instead of going with, I don't know, in any other time, it would have been fair to go with cash, but at that time it was very, very rational to take the stock or take the options. So that is a very, very real regret. Yeah, on paper.
Okay. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because I would say this is maybe one of your best lessons or best regrets because that will shape your future. Because I had the same, I thought not the same. It's completely different, but I sold Bitcoins when I was really, really low. And knowing now how much money I would have made if I didn't sell it, I really value or understand the value of time in the market and how assets grow while you don't touch it. And key or anyone, no one can beat the market. And that's kind of a lesson that I've learned for life. So I think this was probably as well a tough lesson for you of a regret, but a one that you will have for the rest of your life.
100%.
Yes. To give you my last regret, because I feel like we should as well add after this one a certain thing that we don't regret, that we're really happy that we did. The one thing that I regret is not learning to sell earlier. And that's might be weird, uh, a weird regret, but a funny story. When I was a little boy, I think I was 13. I play tennis with like on a high level in Belgium. And for people that know the tennis world, it's quite expensive to play tennis. It costs thousands of euros sometimes per month to pay for
Wow.
your materials, your courts, your balls, your coaches, even if you have to travel, all of that. And I remember as well, like I'm a child. I cannot get a job or anything because as well, I have to go to school and I have to
Lemonade
perform then on the
stand.
tennis court. Lemonade stand, yes. But funny thing is, I was as well had the idea, let me bake some cupcakes and I'll sell the cupcakes door to door in my neighborhood. And the funny thing was, I was so introverted. I baked, I think, 50 or 60 cupcakes. I went to the first door and I was too scared to ring the doorbell. So I went to a couple doors each time, like, come on, press the door, press the doorbell. And then I said, like, no. And then I go back and then I went back home and I felt so sad and watched the movie and started eating all the cupcakes that I'm.
I find
This
that
is a
so
true
hard to
story.
believe. I find that
And
Sim is never gonna believe that what a monster market sales monster that has created. All those cupcakes have made you
well,
into.
all those cupcakes have made me so sad that I said, like, how could I? That funny thing is, but that picture still lives in my brain of like,
Wow.
what a loser are you? And to go back to my regret is selling is a really important skill in life. And the earlier you can learn to handle objections, learn to ask something from another person, them saying no, you're just one no away from a yes. So I wished as well, when I was a little boy, dared to ring that doorbell and got a couple of slamming doors in my face, and just dare to be a salesperson. And later in life, I understood that, and I felt it in my entrepreneurial journey, and as well in my journey as a salesperson in software at Siemens. That it's a really amazing life skill to have. So that's one regret, wishing to learn and dare to sell stuff earlier in my life. So voila. Maybe Louis, you want to kick us off with less pessimistic cupcake story and share a little bit of what you don't regret about your life, the choices that you're happy about, the choices that if you compare to, or you don't have to compare, but that you feel like that benefited me at this young age or in the first third of my life a lot.
I don't regret not getting a degree, starting work early, but I do feel like I've been in a bunch of situations where I recognize myself as different. So like, everybody that knows you knows that you will ring more doorbells than anyone else, and the version of you from today. And I've been in a bunch of situations where I can see myself, and I know that my old self would handle something badly, totally differently, or would even refuse to do certain things. And I know that the reason that I'm better is not because of me; it's because I've had the chance to partake in some amazing opportunities. For example, the Apple Academy. I was given the chance to start working early. I've met some incredible people that have shown me what's possible, how you can be different. And so I don't attribute it to myself. Because I know, even when I see certain people make bad decisions, or be selfish, or even worse than that, show very bad colors, I recognize a part of myself in that, and I know it's really up to circumstance sometimes. So all to say that I'm very grateful that that I was shown what's possible, and how you can be different. So maybe that resonates a little bit, but I do feel like it's not up to me. A lot of it is not up to me, and yeah, I'm glad to see that there's two or sometimes three versions of myself, and that I'm the more courageous one of the three, but it's not because of myself.
But yeah, that's beautiful what you just said, and I think a lot of people, they, like you said, those different paths you could take in your life, and a lot of people, they have the this is no disrespect, but they have the path where you stay in your hometown, you do your studies, get a job, or sort of certain or work for your parents if they have their own shop, or take it over. And then afterwards you buy a house, you get a family, you extend that family with grandchildren and so on. And then eventually either you sell your business, or you literally stop your job because you get your pension, and then you live out some nice holidays and some nice experiences, and then say goodbye. And for a lot of people at the end of their life, they say, "Oi, everything went by, and this is not the life I would wanted to have." And it would have been good if they had, let's say, not the classic path and just go to an Apple Academy, or just go do something, go live outside of their hometown to really like find themselves, and really would give them the most happiness or the most reward in their life. So yeah, that's an amazing thing as well that you shared, and a lot of people as well. Sometimes the things that we don't regret and our life path can be dictated, or can be in a positive way moved forward and in the right direction due to the influences we get from other people. And one of my now to convert it to my no regret, it is quite easy. It is entrepreneurship. The funny thing is, the failure of the cupcake business and other stuff led me to, okay, let's really try entrepreneurship here. And it made me realize from mentors that a person that builds a business, it's just as hard if you work a 9 to 5 than having a business. You could say as well, oh, it's a lot tougher. Yes and no. It's still, you put a lot of effort in doing a good job for a company, but it's also you put a lot of effort in making the business work. And every company where you buy a product or a service from is created often by people that are no smarter than you. So by having the guts and the motivation of saying, let me try a business, let me try a software business, definitely in a that's in an environment like Belgium, where not like Silicon Valley, where not that many, most companies have a lifestyle, let's say kombucha, or have a product, but try a software business. And it did, let's say, I didn't have the massive exit yet, but it's still running and it's still proving value to customers. And I learned the most from that. And that's why as well, I'm moving back. Probably my corporate job is not listening to my podcast, or some of my colleagues. And if they would hear, then this would be a funny anecdote. Wait a little bit until to tell all my managers, but I will go back to my startup life, just because I learn at a 10x scale the people you get respect from and you meet, and as well, you only have to be one time right. I was with Relivo. I was, I think, 4 or 5, maybe 6 times wrong in the product or service that we put in the market, and the 7th time it was right. It was not very big, but you just need a couple more, or a couple 10 times more swings, and then one time you'll be right. And with all the experience from the past, you can immediately implement it on the new thing. And it's just consistency and learning, and don't constantly make the same mistakes. So that I'm really have no regret in taking that step. Although I didn't become rich of it yet, it did give me an abundance mindset. And that as well what you gave me, Louis, always the abundance mindset, where we Belgians don't always lean towards, but let's say the funny ducks in the the cool ducks in between us in the Belgian country that believe in abundance mindset, they have outweighing the returns that other people have. So that's what I have as a no regret. Cool. Luigi, you want to still say something, or I think we can close this episode off from your dungeon.
Without your entrepreneurial story, we wouldn't have met. It's
correct.
It's easier to be brave when you're well surrounded, or where you can fall back on something. And so, at least we have a bunch of people around that believe in the stories that we tell, or that believe that our story is worth believing in, even if they don't fully understand it. So that's a blessing to
True.
have.
Well said. Okay, Vivo. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode about regret, and maybe it's good for you as well to think about one or two regrets that you might have in the earlier part of your life, and definitely make the changes to go all out and try to have as minimal regrets going further in life. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode of the Unquestioned Podcast with Louis, Debaere, and Willem Himpe, and we'll see you again on another episode of the Unquestioned Podcast. See you. Bye-bye.